Section 6, new business continued. Item B, it's a commission request to the Commission request to Housing and Community Development Commission. Vice Chair Fleming will present. The purpose is to approve a letter requesting that the Housing and Community Development Commission add supportive housing to their work plan. The action is to approve the letter to go to the Housing and Community Development Commission. And the letter is very helpfully, who's displaying? Is this you, Sabrina? Very helpfully displayed on the screen, saving us time.
So I think maybe before we get into the, thank you. So I think maybe before we get into the letter, I'll just read the memorandum from August 18th that was given to the Rules Committee. And there's a paragraph in there, so it says, they passed this neighborhood safety, transportation, code enforcement items include bylaws, independent citizens oversight committee for Measure B, caucus process, fostering neighborhood associations budget, illegal fireworks, sales tax increase strategies, and participatory budgeting. So homelessness, which we actually made the impact of supportive housing on neighborhoods, that was left out. And it was left out because I believe they thought we were going to try to tackle all of homelessness. But aside from that, the memo goes on to say, however, the Commission also approved supportive housing, so it wasn't labeled properly in this document. Staff believes this topic area is within the purview of the Housing and Community Development Commission and therefore should not be included in the Neighborhood Commission work plan. So that brings us to this letter because we want to make sure that the Housing and Community Development Commission get this and understand that this is in their jurisdiction. So now we can read the letter. And I can read it out loud for the public if you can't see it in the back. And it goes, from San Jose Neighborhoods Commission to San Jose Housing Community Development Commission, impact of supportive housing on neighborhoods. Chair Graves, the Neighborhoods Commission unanimously approved the 2017-18 work plan that included an ad hoc committee item titled, The Impact of Supportive Housing on Neighborhoods. The scope of this project was as follows. Review and evaluate current supportive housing facilities and personal assessment services of homeless persons with the community, focusing on the impacts of homeless-specific affordable housing on neighborhoods, specifically on the real and perceived impacts to crime, property values, and overall quality of life, with a deliverable of a letter to the City Council on the impact of supportive housing. Staff recommended this item be removed from our work plan as they believed it was out of the scope of the Neighborhoods Commission and fell within your jurisdiction. The Rules Committee approved our work plan with staff's recommendation. The impact of homelessness has been one of the top areas of concern for all neighborhoods in San Jose, and it needs to be addressed at a city level to understand its impacts on police, fire, and EMS calls for service. The Neighborhoods Commission requests that the Housing and Community Development Commission add this to their 2017-18 work plan and make it a priority. The Neighborhoods Commission has been directed by City Administration to not address homelessness this year, and therefore we are unable to assist you in a joint effort. Should this change in the future, we are open to a joint commission effort. Please keep us appraised of any updates on this matter, and we are happy to disseminate your work to the neighborhoods of San Jose. Yours sincerely, Nicole and myself, Chair and Vice Chair. So with that, we'll open it up for questions and then public comment.
John.
Yeah. So, Commissioner Giammona.
My first question would be, do they already have their work plan approved
This commission?
for the Housing Commission? Or for the one we'd be giving that letter to?
I believe they do for this year.
So would it make a difference if we sent that to them or not about that getting added?
They could revisit it and take it to their approving committee to revise their work plan.
Okay.
Commissioner Semanek.
Yeah, along that context, I mean, again, not seeing their work plan, it's hard to believe that they're not addressing this issue. I mean, it's just hard to comprehend given the scope of the problem with the city. With that said, I think this is superbly written, so I commend both of you. It's excellent. It says it all.
Thank you. Commissioner Hernandez.
So I like the letter as well, but I'm reluctant to recommend that we send it because is it out of the norm for us to try to go into what someone else is doing and tell them what they should be doing from that spirit? How would it be received, and how would we receive something of that magnitude? So that's my opinion.
Commissioner Navarro.
I feel the same way. I think that another possibility might be tomorrow's our meeting here. And possibly if we can come in and do public comment just like anyone else. And I'm sure that they would be more than willing to listen to us. Because of them already having their work plan assigned, I wouldn't want to derail them from what they already have for this year, but maybe implant it for the following time that they're going to review their work plan so that they have it. But on a side note, I know that they are kind of working on it because I happen to be married to one of them, and that was something that they that is important to them. So I would recommend that, and if we can have some
Can you
commissioners.
recap what the recommendation is, the specific action?
Would be for the commissioner, the chair, or the vice chair, if you guys would like to come in and to the
go
housing
to the
meeting that's happening tomorrow. There is public comment, and you can add it that way, as opposed to sending a letter and adding it, or requesting them to add it to their work plan, because that might do what exactly it is that you're trying to do without actually sending a letter.
Yeah.
Commissioner Semanik?
Yeah, protocol aside, letter or no letter, I think this message needs to be delivered, and that might be a good way to do that. I just want to remind everybody here that was this meeting, our meeting last month, the number of public comments we had that was revolved around homelessness. I think that was very representative of the perception, good, bad, or indifferent, of our average neighborhoods in San Jose. So I think the core issue for us is to relay the message of our respective communities back to this organization. How we deliver it, letter, meeting, whatever, but I think it's paramount. I think it would be disgraceful, and I think we'd be remiss not to highlight this issue because it's so important to all the communities of San Jose.
So I'm going to make a point here. I made a point of following these rules of order. We were supposed to ask technical questions in this part, then go to public comment, and then go to a discussion debate. So I'm going to say, unless someone has a question on this letter right now, let's move the public comment, and then we can go into debate. Chair?
I actually, this is a little awkward. I actually didn't see this version of the letter before it was presented tonight. And I'd like to ask, so I don't have a crystal ball. And it seems to me the sentence that says, should this change in the future, we're open to a joint commission effort. My feeling is that puts the cart way ahead of the horse, really far ahead. And if we're sending this, would ask that we remove that sentence before it is, if it's sent, if it be that sentence be removed if we end up sending it. So again, I apologize for the awkwardness. I should have connected with you before to review the actual final language.
Okay, so with that, we'll move to public comment and then take up the debate. So on public comment,
Ed Rest, joining us from Ed Rest.
I think there's a couple of points that the commission needs to take a look at. The first point is the public safety issue itself is in the preview of the neighborhood commission. And my understanding is the way it's done is the housing itself, the homeless housing, is within the preview of the housing commission. So one of the issues that you're going to have here, because a lot of the neighborhoods across the city, and we're hearing from our members of United Neighborhoods, as well as I'm hearing individually from a lot of the neighbors across the city, are very concerned about the public safety issues here. So I think it needs to be made clear in the letter that the public safety issue is going over to the Housing Commission rather than just staying here. And therefore, that would be something that I think that the Neighborhood Commission should continue to be, at least be aware of, and and hopefully the Housing Commission will give some sort of report back on where that is, because I think that's the main issue. The second portion of it is homeless people need help. They can't help themselves in many cases. So I think it's important that this becomes successful. The real issue I see in this is how you handle the supportive services, how you handle the concerns of the neighborhoods, how you handle the public safety issues. And if that's done correctly, then I think it will be widely accepted across the city. If it's done poorly, I think you're going to have a huge pushback similar to what happened in District 2. just a couple of weeks ago, where they almost basically stopped the meeting. The police almost actually cleared the hall. It was so noisy. And so, and so I think it's a matter of importance that it be clear that you're moving the public safety side over to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
So I believe that ends public comments. So now we're going to ask for an official motion. So is there a motion on the floor to approve this letter? Send out.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion about the removing that sentence.
Yeah, I'll
So
include that in my motion. First, to either send the letter or make a comment. I don't know if we need to decide that in the motion, with the amendment that Nicole mentioned.
Okay, so vote first whether to send it?
If you want to make it two separate, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
I was kind of putting it together.
So we need a first motion, and it can be anything with recommendation, send the letter as is, make an
My
amendment
first
to it.
motion is to send this letter and/or meet with them tomorrow to disseminate this information with the modification that Nicole cited here. That's my motion.
Could you repeat that? I didn't get all that.
Yeah, my motion is to accept this wording with the modification of what Nicole talked about and either send the letter or disseminate that information in the meeting tomorrow, I mean, depending which way you want to operate. But I think it's important we make this clear. And I can't emphasize enough, and I hope my early comments resonated with every commissioner here. This is a citywide issue that touches every neighborhood. And I think this message needs to be sent. No question in my mind. We would be remiss not to do this.
So we have a motion to, the proposed motion on the floor is to send the letter with the removal of the sentence, should this change in the future, we are open to a joint commission effort, period. And then
My motion was,
good.
or disseminate the same information at the meeting tomorrow. I don't know which way you want.
or, yes, or, use this messaging, or this physical letter to communicate to the Housing Commission when they meet tomorrow or any time in the future. So the letter would go with the change, and we can use it in any way. We'd sign it formally and send it through to the Housing Commission, and we can use it in other avenues.
That sounds like two different motions to me.
Yeah, it
Okay.
sounds like two different motions. I think we need
Okay.
to
Either or.
we need to separate it.
So a motion, I think the first then is a motion to amend the letter to remove the sentence. Should this change in the future, we are open to a joint commission effort. Second by Cunningham. Oh, first,
Well, I'm the first.
Semantics the first, Cunningham's the second. All in favor?
Wait.
Nope. Mr.
So
Roberts,
according to
thank
the
you.
rules, now we can have a second. Now we're still in debate period.
Okay.
So we can have another motion, we can have a sub-motion, an amendment motion, we can have all sorts of different emotions.
Okay, great. Go for it.
So, that's the first. So Commissioner Carter?
Yeah, I just have a comment. I think sending the letter and being present and at the meeting if you're able to. Maybe you're not able to. This is kind of
I
short
can
notice
be.
for you
I can go.
to be able to attend the meeting tomorrow, but I think it would be to our advantage if we did both. If possible, you're able to attend. But the minimum we should be doing is sending the letter as, with the amendment.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay. So the motion then, to clarify, is to send this letter as a commission, and if possible, show up tomorrow, vice chair or chair.
With the amendment.
Is that correct?
Correct.
No,
Okay.
with the amendment.
Well, this, yes,
Yes.
with the first one. Okay, so is there a second for that? Okay.
Wilkins is second. Oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Wilkins made the motion. Navarro is the second.
No, I have a question.
No.
Oh.
Carter made the motion.
I made the
Wilkins
motion.
seconded.
Thank you.
Navarro's asking a I'm writing it down.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Commissioner Navarro?
I have a question. Since this is something that is no longer within our scope, is there a possibility that there's a certain number of us that cannot come tomorrow? If all of us wanted to come with the letter in hand, or is there a limitation, just so we don't break any Brown violations?
If this was in fact something that the Neighborhoods Commission was never going to take up ever again, all of you could go to the meeting tomorrow. If, however, you think there is a possibility that council might change its mind about you taking this up in the future in some capacity, I would recommend less than a quorum of you guys to attend the meeting. Well, let me say this, you're allowed to attend the meeting, all of you, no matter what, because it's a public meeting. But if you guys are going to have any kind of substantive discussion, that would color your position on it in the future.
So essentially, don't talk about it outside of the meeting. What we got to say, speak in public comment, everybody can hear it, we're good. Don't get into a group over 8 people and discuss in the hallway.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Hernandez?
I still feel like these are two different motions. First, to approve the letter with the changes, and the second one is the delivery. So I'm not going to vote for any of those two because
There's two motions
two.
on the floor at the moment. There is the first motion to approve the letter with the amendment, and then there's a second motion to send the letter at the very least, and if possible, go to the meeting and present the letter.
With the amendment.
Those are the two separate motions. They haven't been voted on, so they're still both out there.
But it was to send the letter with the amendment in it, so it was an amended motion. So if we approve that, the first motion automatically gets approved. So really, according to Roberts, let me try to find it. I made a Fleming summary of Rosenberg's summary of rules of Robert's Rules of Order. So rules for multiple motions. 3 motions may be on the floor at one time. A fourth may be added only after one is removed. When 2 or 3 motions are on the floor at the same time, the first vote should be on the last motion made. If that motion passes and it makes the others void, there are no other votes. If it passes and other motions are still valid, repeat step B with the second motion, which is now the last. I think I confused you more?
No,
Okay,
no, I'm pretty
okay.
versed with Robert's rules. I guess I would make a motion that if we do accept the amendments to the letter, my motion would be that it be presented in person or someone comes out tomorrow and makes the presentation. I'm still reluctant to send a letter with marching orders to another commission when we don't know what the politics or how it's going to be received.
Okay, so that's the third motion, so now we've reached our maximum. Are there any other comments, debates, questions? Commissioner Semanek?
I guess I have a comment. I mean, I understand the politics, I understand the gamemanship that's played, I get all that. But I think to have it in writing that represents our communities is very important to the issue. Now, we made the amendment, and I think that's a fair amendment to the letter, but I still think it needs to be disseminated in writing verbally.
Can
Just my comment.
I make a comment about procedure in the course of the meeting? So
Well-
were you guys to send this letter, it would show up as, what is it officially called? Hold on a second. As public record. So it would show up in writing for that purpose. Were you to go and read the letter and then turn it over, they would still publish it, and it would show up in writing.
Oh.
So just to clarify.
Again, the protocol, the details, that's your expertise, but I think the message needs to be delivered, period, writing and verbally. As a matter of public record, I might add.
If you turn it in at the meeting, they will have to publish it, and it would be a part of the public record moving forward.
Fair enough.
Any other comments? Commissioner Wilkins?
I guess I'm still flabbergasted that something this important to our neighborhoods
Yes.
is out of scope of the neighborhood commission. I am just
Yeah.
peeved beyond all belief. Somebody's got to take this.
Yeah.
You've got an in, and if you're suggesting that it be done in person, it might be handled better. We got to go for it because this has to be tackled. This is way too big for nobody to do anything.
Is there anybody else? Commissioner Martin?
So, District 9 was one of the districts that we called a meeting with 20 or 30 people and had a little over 400 show up to it and had PD and stuff like that. So it might have not been the best way of handling it, say thank you to next door. But realistically, the message is extremely important. And what I came to terms after all of that was that it wasn't being carried out by anybody else other than our commission. And so I think it's really important that this letter get read tomorrow.
Okay. Commissioner Semanek?
Yeah, just as a follow-on, I mean, we know about our mission, we know the code enforcement, we know the public safety, we know the quality of life. But at the end of the day, what is this commission all about? We're representing our neighborhoods. And what's important to our neighborhoods and our residents, we should be involved with. Period. Do we want to pussyfoot around a major issue like this? No, that's my opinion. That's my commentary. No.
Commissioner Navarro?
I respect that you feel that way, and I hope that you've gone to the Housing Commission meetings to explain it, and I hope that you'll be there tomorrow.
Jackie knows exactly how I feel. I
Yeah.
was on the head of commission. She understands exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
So,
No, but she knows. No. I just want to make sure, because you're not the only person in your neighborhood, and I don't have an opportunity to meet everyone, but this presents a great opportunity. Our responsibility is also to let our neighborhood know. Excuse me, hold on. And that way you can gather a group of people to go and speak to the Housing Commission tomorrow, because that would speak more than you yourself. We represent them.
I'm not going to debate with you here. There's been several meetings in District 4 with the
Mike.
Housing Commission's been. We've done that over several weeks. So please don't debate with me. Please, not in this
I'm
forum.
not, okay,
Please.
so.
All right, we'll
I
have a
will
call of
address-
order here. We're going to move
Yes,
on.
please. Can I just finish my thought?
We're going to move on. I don't want to continue that here. Are there any other discussions here, comments?
Hernandez.
I want
Yes.
to withdraw my motion and put a new motion on there, and it is to accept the letter with the amendments that were suggested by Nicole to be presented tomorrow in person, and a handprint copy be handed, so that it does become part of the public record, and it sends our message
Yes.
a little bit more clear.
Okay. So there are three motions still, and we'll have staff read those here real quick, just so we make sure we know exactly where we're at.
So the original motion made by Commissioner Smanik was to either send the letter with the amended change as recommended by Commissioner Edros, or to go to the meeting and read the letter. The second motion, hold on a second, made by Commissioner Carter was to send the letter and go to the meeting.
With the amendment. Sunday letter with
Huh?
with the amendment.
With the amendment, yes. And then the third letter, or the third motion, I'm sorry, which has just been replaced by Commissioner Hernandez, is to go to the meeting in person with the letter as amended, to read it and to turn it over for publication.
So just to be clear, the second amendment by Commissioner Carter would include the latest amendment by Commissioner Hernandez.
Basically the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But there's
Except
no
that they're
sending
reading.
of
Yeah,
the
there's
letter.
no sending of it.
Yeah.
So if we did Commissioner Carter's, we would send it and show up, read it, and turn it in.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to make a comment. I would vote for that one. I think we should do both. I think we should make it. That would be, we approve the letter with the amendment that Nicole wanted, taking out that one line, turning it in as a commission body through here, sending it, and then also showing up, either Nicole, myself, both of us, reading the letter and reading and turning it in. It covers all of our bases.
Can you physically be there tomorrow? Just before we, really.
While they're checking that, you said that several of us could go as well,
Yeah.
but not more than,
Commissioner Navarro, what time does it start?
I believe it starts at 6, correct me if I'm wrong. I would recommend, it's going to be a long one, so I would recommend you guys get here 15 minutes early to get good parking.
I have it. Sorry to cut you off
Can you
there.
do it?
It starts at 5:45 p.m. right here. So yes, I can be there. So
I
I'll
can be
go
there
ahead
at
and do it.
7:30.
I'll go ahead and do it if
Okay.
that's okay.
I will attend as well.
Commissioner Semanik will join me, so we
Great.
can have up to 6 more. But we don't need to decide that now. So we have 3 motions on the table. So the first one is just to approve it with the sentence taken out, and then go and read it, turn it in. Second one by Commissioner Carter is to do exactly that and to send it from this table, which is what I would vote for. And then the third one is going to be taken care of with the other two, just to take out that sentence. So let's have a vote on Commissioner Hernandez's motion. You still want that motion, correct?
Yeah, I don't want to do overkill.
Okay,
I'm
So-
sorry, we still need a second on the replacement motion.
yes. So is there a second for Commissioner Hernandez's new motion?
Yes.
There is.
Second it.
Okay.
Aye, so taking a vote on Commissioner Hernandez's letter. All in favor? Aye.
What was the difference between
Hers is not overkill. It just is read out loud and turned in for the public record, not sent through the
Okay, got it.
obscure city channels with respect.
I don't believe they're obscure. I think it's an official channel, and I think that is something we need to do to cover ourselves.
Excuse me, you're right.
Yes.
You're right.
But
Thank
it's
you.
already part of the.
But it's already part of the record.
It's-
We're just trying to be,
Okay.
it can go either way, it's fine. So,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
All in favor of Hernandez's motion? You're gonna have to keep your hands up because I gotta write it down.
It's Commissioner Giammona, Commissioner Navarro, Commissioner Hernandez, Commissioner Chair Idreas.
Thank you. All opposed?
I'll read them. Commissioner Semanek, Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Fleming, Commissioner Martin, Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Wilkins.
So, any abstentions? Just for the record, no.
There's one abstention.
Commissioner Cunningham abstained.
Thank you. That motion fails.
Go ahead.
So then we'll go to the underlying motion, which would be Commissioner Carter's. So that would be a combination of amending that one sentence, sending it from this commission body, and then also reading it in person and sending. Yeah, so this is number 2.
So, all in favor? Oh my God.
I'll read. Commissioner Semanek, Commissioner Navarro, Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Idreas, Commissioner Fleming, Commissioner Cunningham, Commissioner Martin, Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Wilkins.
Okay. Opposed?
Commissioner Hernandez,
Abstentions?
Commissioner Giammona.
That motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I delete it? Since it's on my screen, and give it back to you?
What's that?
Can I delete it,
The sentence.
the sentence?
Yeah.
That was part of the motion?
Yeah, go for
Oh,
it.
thanks.
We'll all see it, and then it'll be done, and you can put letterhead on that for us, right?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Great.